Nebraska is gearing up for an absolutely loaded recruiting weekend. The Huskers are hosting some of the top prospects in America and a couple four-star surprises. So in today's video, I'm going to go over every single official visitor in town, who these guys are, what they bring to the table, their interest in Nebraska, what other schools are in the mix, their stats, their film, everything you need to know. And then when it's all said and done, will they commit to the Big Red? So really quick, this is a loaded recruiting update. You're going to watch the entire thing because it is nuts. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Husker fan, we are getting so close to 12,000 subscribers. Let's hit it this week for daily content, breaking news, and so much more. This is the place for you. Hit that subscribe button. Help us to 12K. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it. Going over this loaded Nebraska recruiting update. The Huskers have a huge weekend on their hands, hosting some top prospects, multiple four-star surprises, and so much more. And it should be noted, this will be the final time all summer that Nebraska will host recruits on campus. We are now entering the dead period next week, where we basically can't have any contact with these recruits. They can't visit anywhere. So up until September, no more recruits will be visiting Nebraska. That's why it's so important the Huskers get the final word on a lot of these guys, because a lot of these prospects, this is the final school they're going to visit before they end up committing at the end of June or into July. So we have a lot to talk about, a lot of updates. Let's get things started with every single official visitor in town. Let's go to the offensive line. Nebraska needs to secure some four stars on the trenches. Let's go to a big man coming out of Chicago, Illinois, borderline top 100 prospect in America, 6'8", 260-pound Claude Mapuma. Now, this is somebody who, when you watch him on film, oh my goodness, man, he is just a mammoth, great in the running game, pancakes everybody. He's very athletic for his size. You know, he has long arms, a really good build. He's been continuing to put on really good weight. He's honestly a lot more developed in the pass pro than I initially thought. So the thing about Claude Mapuma, while he's very raw as a prospect, he has the upside to be a future first-round NFL draft pick, man. I mean, he has everything you just can't teach at that tackle spot. He's also stayed very healthy throughout his career. He's a very good kid. So Claude Mapuma is somebody who Nebraska, they've been going after him for a very, very long time. He's down to 3 schools, that being Nebraska, Florida, and Auburn. And if I were to rank the 3 as of right now, I'd say it goes Florida, Auburn, and Nebraska. Nebraska's probably dead last. He said that Florida is the favorite. Now, I will say this, a lot can change after this recruiting weekend. Okay, it's very important that Nebraska, they got the final visit in his recruitment. He's likely going to commit at the start of July, if not the end of June. And he's a guy who, if Nebraska, they treat him like a priority, if the NIL package is right, if he potentially sees a way and get on the field within the first couple of years, I see no reason why he's not going to commit to Nebraska. He has a great relationship already with Donovan Raiola, great connection with a lot of these Chicago guys. Nebraska's building a really good pipeline in that city. Nebraska, they could really do a good job on this recruiting weekend and land him just in about a couple weeks. And it should be noted, while Florida is the favorite right now, they already have a great offensive line class. They just had a 4-star commit to them the other day. Claude Mapuma, unfortunately, he isn't the priority for the Gators. They're not treating him like a priority. He is a priority for the Huskers. So it's very important Nebraska. They get a good offensive line class. They already have Rex Waterman. They already have Hayden Ainsworth. Those are 2 pretty solid players, but they're likely both going to be guards at the next level for the Big Red. We need a solid tackle, okay? And we need a guy like Kelvin Obot. We need a guy like Claude Mapuma. If we can somehow impress him this weekend, build that relationship up, make him feel wanted, make him feel like a priority, I see no reason why he's not going to commit when it's all said and done. So he's visited a couple times already. This will be his final visit to Lincoln before he ends up committing in about a couple weeks. Let's see if we can get it done there with Claude. But I'm honestly a little optimistic here. I think we have a really good shot there to get him in this class. Then let's go to the secondary with 2 elite prospects. Now, I think it's imperative that Nebraska lands an elite corner or an elite safety within the next couple weeks. So CJ Brana decommitting, and we'll talk about the truth on why CJ Brana decommitted at the end of this video. I learned some information around that. But listen, Danny Odom, somebody who Nebraska, they've been going after for a very long time, coming out of Orlando, Florida. He's 6 foot tall, 175. His recruitment has been just blown up recently. When the Huskers were going after him starting in January, starting in February, when Addison Williams just got here, he was a mid to low 3-star. Really didn't have that many good offers. But recently, he's been picking up offers from Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, pretty much every single school you can imagine. And there's good reason why. Like Danny Odom, somebody who's a very physical corner. He loves to tackle at a high level. You can put him all over the field, whether it's at corner, nickel, safety. He has that positional flexibility. He's great in coverage with his size, with his long arms. So, man, he's somebody who just fits this secondary in Nebraska. They like these physical corners, especially coming out of Florida. We have a great connection in Florida with Phil Simpson and a couple of these guys. So Danny Odom, it's kind of like a similar situation to CJ Brana. What does he value more? Does he value, these going to a top tier program like an Ohio State, or does he value the loyalty that Nebraska showed him, the fact that we've been going after him for so long, we've built up that relationship, and One of his good friends is also being recruited by the Huskers, who we're about to talk about. He has an opportunity to team up with him. That isn't going to happen at any other program. So Danny Odom's somebody who I really want. I think it's very important Nebraska lands a top-tier corner in this class just because we lost CJ Brana. Let's see if they can get it done. Now, Danny said that he will likely be committing probably next week, maybe on that Monday, maybe on that Tuesday. So watch out for Danny Odom to commit pretty quickly here. But I'd say right now, Oklahoma's the favorite. Be very honest with you, I think Oklahoma's the favorite, Ohio State second. But once again, a lot of things can change. And if Nebraska plays in that relationship factor, if they make him feel at home, if they make him feel like he wants to play with Devin Jackson, we're about to talk about again, I think we have a good chance to land. And just want to mention that around Danny Odom. Then the number one reason why I think we're going to land Danny Odom is because of his teammate Devin Jackson, who's also coming out of Orlando, Florida, listed at 6 foot tall, about 200 pounds, can play free safety along with strong safety. Man, one other guy who's just been blown up throughout the recruiting rate, has been picking up a lot of good offers. He recently visited Oregon, LSU, Miami, but really Nebraska's in a very, very solid place. They've been recruiting him since he was a Florida commit. Now, it should be mentioned around Devin Jackson that he visited Florida during last week, or actually not last week, a couple days ago. You know who's also on campus then? CJ Brana. So he has a great relationship with CJ Brana, who's now a Florida commit. Florida, they're doing some weird stuff behind the scenes. We'll talk about that as the video progresses. So Florida's now once again a player to potentially get him again. He was a past Florida decommit. So I don't know what's going on with the Devin Jackson recruitment. Just the main thing going in Nebraska's favor right now is the fact that he could potentially team up with Danny Odom. If they are really good friends, I could see it be a package deal, but that's really about it. Like I'm not too confident here just because I think some big dogs are getting involved in Nebraska. They have not shown the ability to win the recruiting battles against the big dogs so far in this class. So I just don't believe that's going to change here. But we'll see with Devin Jackson. It's important Nebraska gets his last visit. And he's another guy who's going to be committing very soon here. Probably at the end of June. But somebody can play over the field. Ball hawk, really good athletic upside, really good size. Hopefully we can get Devin Jackson. But I'm never going to sell us short here. We do a really good job in Florida. We do a really, really good job in Florida. So I could very well just land him if he has a good visit. Then let's go to a surprise visitor. It was announced last night he will be taking a visit to Lincoln. This is Javion Cooper, 4-star offensive lineman committed to Syracuse. This is a guy who, once again, is coming out of Florida. We know Nebraska's putting a great connection in that state. The Flow-Nebraska connection is officially back. Nebraska, they're going after a couple Syracuse commits, whether it's Cameron Wilson, whether it's Cooper, whether it's a couple others behind the scenes. This is somebody who's kind of similar to Klama Puma, where he's an interior guard, probably plays center. He might even be able to play tackle. Really developed in the running game. He's a big boy. I mean, kind of a lot of bad weight on him, but once again, has a great athletic upside. If he can shed some of that bad weight, he's going to be very, very solid at the next level. So I like Javion Cooper's game. I don't know where Nebraska stands here. It's all very fresh. It's all very new. Probably going to stick with Syracuse, but again, Nebraska, they're playing the long term here. They're playing the long-term game. If Nebraska has a successful season this year, and maybe Syracuse doesn't, we're in a position to not only flip him, but also Cameron Wilson very, very quickly. So just watch out for this name, Nebraska. I think we're doing a really good job when it comes to the O-line recruiting. I'm not really concerned about that. Then Nayland Scott will be visiting, 4-star wide receiver out of Georgia. Now, this is somebody who reported he was considering visiting last weekend. He ended up going this weekend. So he's an Arizona State commit. Now, there's an interesting note around Nayland Scott. Okay, obviously he's 6'3", jump ball receiver. Nebraska needs that right now. They need a game-changing wide receiver. We know that Davion Bonwitty is pretty much going to decommit. The thing about Nayland Scott that's interesting, we know he's committed to Arizona State. They have a no tolerance for official visits while you're a commit. So it's very possible that Arizona State says, hey, you're not committed anymore because you're visiting Nebraska. It's very real that happens. And if that does happen, he could flip to Nebraska next week. He could flip to Nebraska on Sunday. So Nayland Scott, somebody who I'd absolutely watch out to be a commit very quickly here, a flip here. We need a game-changing wide receiver. We need somebody with size, with speed, with athleticism, who plays some of the best players in all of Georgia. That's who you get here, Nayland Scott. But again, Arizona State, they have a no tolerance for taking official visits while you're committed. They might rescind his commitment. They say, hey, you're not committed here anymore. And Nayland Scott says, okay, bet, I'm going to go be a Cornhusker. So very, very big. The Huskers got him on campus. Arizona State, they did whatever it took to have that not happen. Nayland Scott says, you know what? I'm going to end up visiting anyways because this is where my heart really is. So not too shocking here. I told you Nebraska, they're going to try to flip some wide receivers in this class, whether it's him, whether it's, a Ryan Mozee committed to Georgia, whether it's in the ranking, they're going to try to flip some of these guys long-term. I still believe into Keel short. So watch out for Nayland Scott. Then Larry Miles was somebody who he was in a very weird situation. He was going to come this weekend, then he canceled, and now he once again will be visiting this weekend. So this is a 4-star wide receiver according to Rivals, 3-star according to On3. He's a slot receiver coming out of Florida, about 5'11", 175, pretty much down to Nebraska, Pitt, Kentucky. I believe he's going to be committing on July 1st, so make sure to mark that on your calendar. But just a really shifty receiver, has some good speed, really decent route running. Size isn't phenomenal, but has pretty much a lot of things you can't teach. And once again, pretty solid hands. So kind of, I would compare him a little bit to a lesser version of Jacory Barney coming to high school. Like, not as speedy, not as big, not as dynamic, but just kind of did a lot of things the right way. So I don't know if Nebraska lands his commitment. I think he'll probably commit to those other schools, whether it's Pitt or whether it's Kentucky. I think the Huskers are just getting here a little late. But again, a lot could change. If Nebraska really, really wants him, and it does, I don't know if Nebraska has a committable offer on the table right now. I don't know. But if they really make him feel like a priority, I can see them pretty much swoop up and take him. That's the way recruiting is nowadays. So watch out for this name, but he'll be committing, I believe, July 1st. So we're not dead when it comes to wide receiver recruiting, but man, we have some work to go. We have some work to do. Then, talking about a 2027 visitor who will be in town, Khalil Terry is somebody who just decommitted from Michigan State. He'll be in town for a camp. I reported on the channel, I want to say about a month or two ago, that Nebraska, they've been trying to flip him for a very long time now. He's 5'11", 180. Man, just a rangy safety. He's a hard hitter who's has great athletic upside. I mean, look at Lay the Boom right there. So Khalil Terry is somebody who could be Nebraska's next commit. And it could be a 2027 guy. So watch out for Khalil Terry. I told you guys they've been trying to flip him. He just decommitted from Michigan State. Pretty much tells you everything you need to know. So watch out for Khalil Terry, but he's in the class of 27. So not a 26 guy, but 27. Then to Darius Hughes, just want to recap this. He was visiting Nebraska during the week. Is he going to flip? I don't expect so, at least not now. He's a 4-star safety. He's committed to Florida State. I think, again, is this somebody who we're in for the long haul here? Darius Hughes is somebody where if Florida State once again has a bad year, Mike Norvell gets fired, which I could very well see happen. This is somebody who I could very well see flip to Nebraska. We're not going to flip him in July. We're not going to flip him tomorrow. It's somebody who we're probably going to flip maybe, in August, maybe in September, if Florida State does not have the year that we're thinking. So just watch out for that when it comes to Darius Hughes. Then I want to mention some guys who are no longer visiting. Kamoa Hui White was originally scheduled to visit this weekend. He committed to Cal a couple days ago, so he's no longer going to be in town. Man, Cal has beat us out for not one but two Hawaii prospects over the last year. Not only him, but Aiden Manti. So darn you, Cal. Darn you. Anyways, I liked him, though. He was a solid guard prospect. James Carrington no longer visiting. He committed to Florida State. I'm cool with this one. I told you guys James Carrington had a lot of red flags I just didn't really want to get involved with, so I'm cool with that. And then there's Evan Walker no longer visiting. That one sucks. Though a running back commit's on the way. We'll talk about that in a later video. But a running back commit is on the way. That's why Evan Walker committed to Oklahoma, because he knew that we're getting another running back. So watch out for that. And then CJ Braun, I just want to, wrap this up, why he flipped over to Florida. Again, he decommitted from Nebraska 2 days ago, flipped to Florida yesterday. I learned information that he visited Florida midweek. So he visited Florida on that Wednesday, or no, it was a Tuesday. And I believe they upped his NIL. They gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. They said, hey, stay home. We're going to give you this NIL package. He said, you know what? This is way above what Nebraska's offering me. I want to stay home. I'm going to commit to the Gators. So that's really what happened there. They offered him a lot of money. Their NIL's doing a good job. So we're pretty much out of it when it comes to CJ Braun. I don't blame the player. Blame the game. This is just college football nowadays, and Nebraska, it really sucks we couldn't get him in this class. He was a game changer. It is a big deal that we lost him. There's some fans out there who are like, oh, it's not a big deal. CJ Braun, we knew he was going to flip. It doesn't change anything. Like, no, this is a significant news. This is very bad news. We should not undersell this. He was a borderline 5-star guy with freak upside. This is a big deal. We need to treat it like a big deal. But it doesn't mean Nebraska's recruiting is screwed long term. We just need to win this year. And we need to land these guys who are taking visits this week. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about everything. Huge recruiting weekend. And then we enter the dead period. And then we enter commitment season. We're going to see a lot of commits happen over the next couple weeks. So let me know your thoughts about everything down below. Hey, if you made this far in the video, hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate all of you. As always, folks, go grab, go better roll, and I will see you in the next one.